Zombies. What would it be like to be a zombie? Not good at all. I'd have tastes for human flesh and brains. Definitely no more fried chicken anymore. Definitely no more fried chicken, of course. Just like the werewolf, just like the vampires. I don't think my consciousness wouldn't be there anymore. Or would I regain a new consciousness? You know, a new identity? Of like another person in me? You know, like I become another person? Like the movie Warm Bodies? If you've heard of that, the main character is a zombie. His name is R. It's being narrated by him the whole movie. And then I think when he eats brains, he can see the memories of the person he just ate. So it makes me wonder, like, does that mean he's becoming those people he's eating? Like, it's creating his personality? I mean, throughout that movie, it seems like the zombies were all gaining a personality every time they ate somebody. I think that was the only way for them to become human again, was that they need to, I guess maybe it's just over time they were becoming human again, but as a whole new person. It's just that they've ate people. They were cannibals at first, undead cannibals. And also that too, as a zombie you'd be undead, right? Like the vampire, but like I said, you're just a walking corpse. You know, like that. That's the old way. I don't know if they make zombies like that anymore. Usually zombies are, these days, you know, I think 2000, what year would the remake Dawn of the Dead come out? I think it was 2004, 2003. And that one, I think that's what began the whole speed running zombies, when all the zombies started charging. So if I become that kind of zombie, you know, I would think my cardio is pretty good. I think I could run that long. You know, the longest I ran was maybe 40 minutes. That's jogging though. They're like literally sprinting. So I don't know. I'm not sure if I could run that long anymore. Nah, maybe if I tried. I mean, I did jog for like 25 minutes the other day. Yeah, I feel like that's the staple these days for zombies. Like even in Train to Busan, they're like really, those zombies were like, and they like, I don't know, I think some of them could kip up like Shawn Michaels, you know, just jump right up and then start charging and they could lunge at you. You know, it's not like in the old zombie movies like Night of the Living Dead, the old Dawn of the Dead, the one from the 70s, I think. Resident Evil 1 and 2, the video games, the zombies in there. Unless you want to go Resident Evil 1 remake. You know what? Maybe the Resident Evil 1 remake started the whole running, charging zombies era. Because in that one, when you kill a zombie in there, they're not totally dead. They're just down. And then over time, the body would still be there. And then there will be a certain time in the game when you walk by that body, they would rise up real fast. They start charging at you, and they grew claws, and their whole body is like, their flesh is like more red. And instead of them going, "Ugh," they're like, you know, just ready to just and jump on in and grab you and start gnawing on you. Yeah. Yeah, it's the abilities as a zombie it's different. Yeah, it's strange. Now, if you want to go farther for zombies, I believe Friday the 13th. Let me look it up real quick. Googling. It was Friday the 13th 7. Jason. No, wait. Sorry, not 7. 6. 6. Friday the 13th 6 is when Jason got resurrected. Jason Voorhees. And he's basically a walking super zombie. He's still dead. But the only thing on his mind is just killing everybody at Crystal Lake. Just like what he was doing before. Trying to finish the job what his mother started. See, that'd be interesting. But then again, that's just only adjacent to Jason Voorhees. Only that can happen to him. You know, and I think there's another like zombie-like creature. I think it was from the game Darkstalkers. Let me just do another Google search. I forgot the name. I think it was, yeah. Darkstalkers is a fighting game. It's horror-themed characters made by Capcom. Great game. Great game. I feel like it's the stepping stone for Marvel's Capcom. For X-Men, Children of the Atom, and then forward to that, onwards, it's just the Marvel's Capcom games. Besides that, Lord Raptor, he's a zombie. He's a rock star. I don't know his lore too much, but yeah, if I could be that zombie, I just know he was brought back, but he had to do bidding for, who's it for? Well, he had to do bidding for his resurrection. I guess if he wanted to become a rock, still play music, he had to do work for, I think, for a demon. Let me just look that up real quick. Oh, his background story is a little bit different than I thought it would be. Yes, he was a rock star, but he was a rock star that killed himself along with 100 other fans in his final performance. Wow. But because of his thirst for power, an emperor brought him back. I don't know who Emperor Zombie is. I don't want to go into detail, but that's different than what I thought it was going to be. But if you look at his image, he looks like he was supposed to be based off Eddie from Iron Maiden. I think Eddie's supposed to be a zombie, but yeah. Iron Maiden is a metal band that I listen to. Iron Maiden, yeah, it's a metal band that I listen to frequently. They're actually my first concert. Look at that. So, yeah. So basically, I'm saying that it would be cool to be Lord Raptor, at least. There's another zombie that I hope not to be, though, is the Redeads from Legend of Zelda. They're the ones that, they scared the crap out of my little brother. I think the first time I've seen them was in Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I just know they, no. They were pretty spooky in that game. I just know they scream, and then you hear a scream sound, and then Link freezes up, and then the zombie just walks up to Link, and then just starts, when he gets close to him, grabs him, and just starts biting him, of course. But in Wind Waker, that's where that scared my little brother. In The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, yeah. I really scared them because the way they looked in there, and the way their eyes looked, they're like, and their mouths are wide open, and it looks like they're smiling too. And they also scream in there to make Link freeze up. Crazy zombies in a Nintendo game, right? And also in the Left 4 Dead games too, there's the zombies in there that of course they're running, but then there's the other types, the hunter. I think it was the one that shoots their tongue out and they could grab you. Kind of reminds you of Reptile from Mortal Kombat. And there's the witch. The witch one was pretty terrifying. And then there's the tank. Now you pick out of that which of those groups, which one you want to be. I know the hunter can crawl on walls like Spider-Man and it can just lunge right onto you. I mean, I would have been that one. But the other one's the witch. You're just sitting in the corner crying, and then and when someone finds you, then you start screaming and you charge at them, and then you just start clawing the hell out of them, you know. Or you could be the tank. The tank is just a really beefed out zombie that just charges through everything. Not much to that one when you think about it. I feel like there's just more cons being. I think definitely cons being a zombie, because then your arm could, you could still walk around with maybe a missing body part, you know. And it makes me wonder too, if you were to get cured, if there was a cure to end your zombie sickness, but you're missing your body part all day. It's too bad for that. You know, bye bye arm or leg or nose or eyes. What about your cheeks? You know, your flesh is gone. You know, I feel like I feel like also in zombie movies they never tell you how the zombies, you know, came about. I mean, from the ones I've seen, like they always say, when there's no more room in hell, the dead walk, or something like that. I know in Resident Evil 1 through 3, they tell you it was just from a virus that the Umbrella Corporation created. They were making bioweapons, and then something happened where the virus was able to get out into Raccoon City, or it spread it all over everywhere, and then, basically a zombie attack. And then in Resident Evil 4 and 5, I'm not sure if these guys count as zombies, but there's these parasites that they put in the villagers in 4 and 5, where the parasites would connect to the brain, and then the parasites would just basically control the human host, and they have to do the bidding of the main host. So does that count as a zombie? It's kind of like a hive. Yeah, I'm not sure. I just know when I think they eat. They're not really clear what they eat. You just see all the food they're cooking, and it just doesn't look right. It could be, they're just eating their food raw, or they're eating each other. Who knows? They were never clear in the games about that. But another thing too, there's some inconsistencies about killing the zombie. They say decapitation, or just basically disconnection with the brain. But I've seen in some movies, I've seen in like The Land of the Dead, where the zombie's head was just hanging by a thread, and then was able to bite the guy when it swung over. And I remember in Walking Dead, you could see when their head's on the floor, the eyes and the mouth is still moving. So it's like, basically, it's inconsistent. Like, you just gotta blow the head off, I guess. Let me see. Let me search up something real quick. It's gonna be too long to search. Well, back to that thing about how the zombies attacks happen. There's this book that I read called Fever House, and in that book, the zombies came about because a rock star sacrifices body parts just to, I think it was for, I can't remember, man, I gotta read that book again. I know it was just to be with his estranged wife and son, because he wasn't getting along with them, and he and his wife were split, and him and his son weren't really the best of terms. He wasn't doing well either, drugs and rock and roll messed him up. I can't remember, but I just know in that one the zombies came about because of human sacrifice. But in the second book, they find out there's actually a cure. And in that book, it's called The Devil by Name. And in that book, there's a girl they find who's in France. She can cure people. She can cure the disease. And then that goes back to my question about so if they're missing their body parts, but she cured the zombie in them and they're back to human, but the body parts grow back, or is it just it's a done deal? You get what you get. You're back to life. You're human again, but sorry about your arm. Because that would suck. That would really suck. But I think if there's one world where I wouldn't want to be in if there was a zombie attack, and I've read these comics, Marvel Zombies. It's when all the heroes, and I think some of the villains too, they all become zombies. I'm talking the Avengers, the X-Men, Spider-Man. They all become zombies, start eating people, start eating everybody, humans, everything. Spider-Man ate Mary Jane. That was crazy. I think I remember reading that part. I think he rips off his own face because of the guilt. And their consciousness were still there, but they just can't control themselves from eating people. And the one man who was trying to stop them was Magneto. Apparently he was responsible for the heroes to become zombies. And the crazy thing to me is that when there was no more left to eat on Earth, they found a way to eat Galactus. I'm giving spoilers here, so sorry, but that's what happened in the comic books. I'm just talking about these things. It's just my thoughts going everywhere. My thoughts are never organized. They just aren't. But yeah, I would not want to be in that world. That would be scary. Especially the Hulk. He became a zombie too. How did that happen? It's the Incredible Hulk. It's frightening. I guess those are considered super zombies, right? Like I mentioned earlier about Jason Voorhees. Or did I mention that? Yeah. So basically Jason Voorhees, Lord Raptor from the Darkstalkers. Yeah. But if I don't know, if a zombie apocalypse were to happen now, it really depends on the situation. I don't think I would live, because I'm in my room making this video. It really depends on the situation, How long would I live? How long everyone I know, how long would they live, It's a crazy thought. I think that's why some people can't really talk to me. There's certain people that can't talk to me about these things. They'll say "Oh, dude, we're gonna die. You sure you're the only one going in that spot? Sure you're and they're like, why are you trying to make me lose?" I'm just saying, come on. They don't. I guess they didn't like the fact that I was being realistic about it, But that's just how I remember. I think I read somewhere that George A. Romero even talked about that. Someone asked him, "What would you do in a zombie apocalypse?" And he just laughed. He just laughed. It's he goes, I think someone mentioned, I guess he laughed about that question, it's a dumb question. Yeah. We gotta do our best when it happens. I don't know. Who knows? I think the 28 days later and 28 weeks later zombies they're running too. And I think they have that's terrifying to get. If you get bit by those, you get blood in your eye, their saliva into your mouth why would it get in your mouth, but into your bloodstream or anything, a cut from them. The scary thing is that for that one is that you turn maybe in 10 or 15 seconds. There's no time to to go through the stages of grief during that time. It's just you're about to change right there, you know. And I remember in that movie too, they showed when the zombies can just die out by yeah, of course you could kill them. It looks like you just kill them without even shooting them in the head. You could just shoot them up because they're basically just on rabies, right? They're not really undead. They're just rapid. But I remember they showed them in the ending of the first movie where the zombies just die out from hunger. Not all of them, but a good amount of them do. So maybe that's a good way to try to survive a zombie attack would happen. Just stay close. I mean, it's not close, but stay safe. Stay somewhere safe. I'm changing. I'm becoming a zombie now. I'm in poison. Jack, help me! Jack! No. Is he a zombie? No, he's not a zombie. He's the Pumpkin King. Oh, and then there's the Nemesis from Resident Evil 3. Is he considered a zombie? I know there's like a... Then they call it manhwas. They're like mangas, but from China, where they show that Nemesis was created from a person, and he's basically like a super zombie, except he can also. Oh, sorry. He could also he also runs, but he could punch too, and he has his own rocket launcher. So I'm not saying like would it be cool to be that zombie? But like, if that's one of the options, sure. But I just know in that story he's not even there anymore. He's just being controlled by he got programmed from a I forgot to mention that he was captured by Umbrella and he was programmed to hunt down STARS members. STARS member is a SWAT team group from Raccoon City. They're like a police SWAT team group, special forces. Forgot what STARS stand for. But yeah, I mean, that'd be terrifying too. He's like 7 foot. Can you imagine that guy just charging at you, grabs you and tosses you, or punches you, just like that, or he shoots you with his rocket launcher. Yeah, he could aim. Not sure how good his aim is, but still. A 7 foot zombie with a rocket launcher? Come on, that's terrifying. Yeah, you know what? I think I'd just pick being a vampire again. I think vampires can make zombies too. If I remember in Blade, and Vampire in Brooklyn, I think in Blade there was a guy. I remember one of the victims in there was attacked by Quinn. Quinn is a vampire, and instead of becoming a vampire, that guy was becoming like zombified, but he was still talking in that part. And then in Vampire in Brooklyn, the main vampire played by Eddie Murphy, he made somebody his servant by making him. It's kind of strange by making him doing the same. You know, he made him drink. That guy made him drink Eddie Murphy's blood. That vampire made him drink his own blood. Basically, that guy he forced Eddie Murphy forced his own blood into the guy's mouth, and the guy was changing, but he wasn't. It was different. He was like becoming zombified, but he was still himself. But he had to do whatever Eddie Murphy's character told him to do. But his body was falling apart. But he had. I can't remember. It's been some years since I watched this movie. He had taste for human flesh, but he was basically it's starting to look like a zombie. Yeah. But then, yeah. So basically, no, basically. So I'm not sure if like, is he a zombie or a vampire? Yeah. Yeah. I think I'd still pick being a vampire than a werewolf or a zombie. I feel like vampires. The only problem is that you can't walk in the day. Stabbed to the heart by a wind snake, you're dead. Okay, silver doesn't kill you, but it can weaken you. But as a zombie, decapitation, incineration, the destruction of the brain. That's it. Yeah. If anything, though, if I were to be in the zombie attack apocalypse, I think a lot of people would say this, would agree, that I've talked to. It would probably be like Shaun of the Dead. This whole situation I'd be in would be exactly like Shaun of the Dead. I wouldn't even be aware that it's going on until like, I don't know, 2 hours in. Because I'd probably be doing the same thing. Just get up, get ready for work. I'd probably walk outside, my earphones on, have my shades on, and then wondering like, because there's a lot of homeless and crackheads around on the way to my work. So if I see them, I probably would think I wouldn't even know that they were zombies. I would probably just think they're the homeless or crackheads. Yeah, and I just walk by. Hopefully they're slow, because I walk pretty fast when I go to work. So yeah, that's all I got. That's the end of it. So and just like before, just like before. I wrote that weird.